Hi everybody, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. So today this is part 4 of my inventory series, and today I'm going to be talking about my primers and setting sprays. I'm eager to get past these so that we can get into the color cosmetics, because those are the categories I find the most fun. So for primers are sitting at 7. I have 7 primers at the moment. I am on a low buy for primers, and the way I am structuring my low buy is I am permitted to buy a new primer after finishing one of the ones I already have. And that is primarily because I love this product here. And when it is finished, and it will be finished sometime this year, I will 100% be buying another one. So, this primer, this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder in the shade Universal. I use this as a primer primarily in my T-zone during the summertime. It's a little bit more heavy duty than I need in the winter time, since my skin is a little bit drier in the cold weather. But this has become an absolute must-have for summertime makeup for me. Really, really love this product. Worth every penny as far as I'm concerned. The next one I have here is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've had this for a little bit too long. It hasn't dried out yet, it still smells fine, but you know what? I never felt like I used a fair bit of it, but I never really felt like it did a whole lot for my pores, or really anything at all. I noticed a difference in the appearance of my pores when applying the primer initially, but as soon as I had foundation on, I couldn't tell a difference. So I'm not sure exactly why I've hung on to it for as long as I have, but I don't think I like it enough to finish it. I don't know. I'll have to try it out a few more times. It's been a while since I picked it up. I want to try it a few more times, refresh my thoughts on it before dumping it. Next, I have the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Sun-Kissed Face Primer with a vitamin C. This one I got specifically because it has some self-tanner in it, and I have the perennial problem of my face being a little bit darker than my neck. I have found that foundation doesn't seem to sit on my skin and as flattering a way if I lighten my face to match my neck. But then I also don't want to always be bringing makeup down my neck. That's kind of a drag to constantly be having to make up my neck. So my brainwave was to get a primer with self-tanner and apply it primarily to my neck and deepen my neck to match my face. The only problem was the undertone of my neck kind of ended up resembling the tube of this primer. And so while I was able to increase the depth of the tone of my neck, it just looked orange. It looked orange. So I'm not going to use this again. I've hung on to it primarily because it kills me to just toss a product that has this much in it that I've used so few times. But I also don't know anybody who would want it. So it's probably going to end up going in the bin as well. Next is the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. I don't know that L'Oreal even makes this. She is hella old, okay? This is one of the products that I am going to be focusing to try to finish in 2024. There was a period of time where I was experimenting with that whole putting on the glowy base and then your foundation on top. I didn't really notice that technique did a whole lot for me or the appearance of my foundation, but I have this left over, so I might as well use it. Next, I have the Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Primer. I really like this one. This is a good little primer, and it serves a similar function to the Danessa Myricks for a much lower price point, but I do feel like it's not quite as heavy duty as the Danessa Myricks. This one really, really does what I need it to do in the summertime. This one has a similar effect, just not as dramatic. So I am more likely to use this in the winter time if I am wearing a particularly glowy base and don't want my T-zone to get super shiny. Another really good, really affordable primer is the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer. It is a gripping primer. It is very similar, in my opinion, to the Milk Hydro Grip or the Cover FX gripping primer. I honestly don't know if there is a difference between those products, those higher end products, and this one. And this one is significantly less expensive. Really good primer. I'm hoping to use this one up this year as well. Speaking of the Cover FX gripping primer, I got this in a little set of minis. So I have this little deluxe size of the Cover FX gripping primer. A good primer. I don't think I would. I've gone through a larger full size of this, but while this exists, I don't think I would buy a full size. Last in my list of primers is the Farsali liquid powder. This is a little deluxe size of that. And yes, she's very old. She's very old. And you only need, the thing is, I can't imagine anybody paying for a full size of this. Like, I don't know, is Farsali making makeup again or making products again? I don't even know. But you need so little of this. I feel like this, again, does the same function as the Danessa Myricks. This is just a little bit more traceless on the skin. This one, I have to be a little bit more careful to make sure that my foundation doesn't catch on the areas where I've applied this, but you need so little of this. I can't imagine going through a full size. So during the summer this year, maybe before I repurchase the Danessa Myricks, I'm gonna try to finish this one. And that is all of my primers. Let me make sure I went over all of them. All are present and accounted for. I'm not sure I could say the same about my setting sprays. There is one of them I know is around here somewhere. Just can't find it. Okay, primers. Setting sprays. Setting sprays. We are at 9 setting sprays. That is a fair amount of setting spray. I have 2 different kinds of setting spray that I like to have in my collection. I like to have the kind that sort of melt all of your makeup together, a finishing spray. Makes everything look more natural and skin-like, takes down any powderiness. And then I also like to have a fixing spray that helps my makeup last longer. So I have a holy grail for the first kind, which is the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This one does not prolong the longevity of my makeup as far as I can tell, but it does provide a really nice natural skin-like finish over makeup that's looking a little too heavy, a little too dry, or a little too powdery. So I have this one. I have an untouched backup that I bought during the Ulta sale. For my setting sprays, fixing spray that actually extends the longevity of my makeup, I prefer the Sephora Makeup Setting Spray. Now, this is not the most bulletproof setting spray that I've ever come across. I have tried others that are better at extending the longevity of my makeup. I even have one in my collection here, but this is good enough for daily use for me. And the fact that I can, on sale, get this one for $13 a bottle, that I haven't been able to beat that yet. So I have this one, and then I have an unopened backup there that I purchased during the Sephora sale. My newest to my collection is the Gerard Cosmetics Slay All Day Setting Spray. This is in the coconut scent. I really like this. I think that it might even be a little bit better than this one. The only problem is this is generally in the $20 to $22 range, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm correct about that. $16 to $22 range? I don't know. I got this for $7 at Fred Meyer's on clearance. I really, really like it, but again, this one is sufficient for my everyday needs, so I don't know that I need it to, I don't know that I need this one. I will definitely use it and I will enjoy it. I really like the coconut scent, but I'm not gonna purchase this at full price, for sure. Last, I have the more heavy-duty version of a setting spray, and that is the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is a classic. It's a classic. It's hard to find something that's better than this for the price. This is just a little mini of the All Nighter, and I got a mini simply because I don't need a large size. This is the sort of thing that I'm only gonna pull out for, like, I took it with me to a work conference back in November when I needed to put on my makeup at 7 a.m. and have it look pretty until 11. That's the sort of scenario in which I'm going to be using the all-nighter. For my everyday life, it's just more than I need. This is hairspray for your face, and I really love, it's very trustworthy. Really love this product. I just don't need it all that often, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. Almost forgot. This is my, this is one last finishing mist that I have. This is the Sephora Perfection Mist Nude Glow. This is very old, and I think it's almost done, but it is something that I have used very sparingly over a very long period of time. Essentially, I feel like it's a facial oil. It's a dry oil in an aerosol, and it is used for getting that kind of the glass skin look. I just think it's not for my skin type. I think if you are very dry and you need something to give you that very glossy, almost wet look on your skin, well, this is not the product for you, because I don't think they make it anymore. But that is the purpose and the effect of this product. I think I'm going to try to finish it. I don't think there's a whole lot left in this, so I'm going to try to finish it just to get it out of my collection. But yeah, I'm not going to repurchase a product like this again. Like, we got through those categories in pretty good time, and I see that we still have powder to get through before we can talk about the color cosmetics, which I'm excited about. So I'm going to go grab my powders really quick, and we'll go through those as well. Powders. So for powders, I currently have 7 powders for various uses. No, I think it's 8 now. Is it 8? Yes, it is now 8. I recategorized one that was previously in my foundation drawer because I only ever really use it. It's a powder foundation that I only ever really used as powder these days. So my foundation count dropped by 1 and my powder count raised by 1. First of all is this Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Loose Powder. This is a really solid powder. If you need something that is mattifying, this is a very mattifying but very, very lightweight blurring powder. Really, really pretty. It is not my absolute favorite, and I do think that in many cases, particularly in the winter, it's a little more matte than I really need. I think it's going to need to be summertime before I really pull this out and use it up. I have already used quite a bit of this powder, but if you are looking for a mattifying powder that actually stays matte for a good amount of time on your oily T-zone, give this one a try. It is a pretty reasonable price. I think I got this off of Amazon for around $20. My most recent acquisition in my powder collection is this one-sized powder in, I don't even know what's the name of the powder. I don't know, but it's the one-size powder in Ultra Pink. I really love this. I really, really enjoy this a lot. I kind of feel like these pink powders do for me what the banana powders do for someone with a warmer skin tone. I feel it's very, very blurring and mattifying, but in a very elegant, soft way without making me look like I'm 1,000 years old. You know, no Crypt Creeper vibes with this powder. I can even put it under my eyes, and I don't feel like it dries me out excessively or really emphasizes the texture or the thinness of the skin there. Lovely, lovely powder. One of my older ones here is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores. I do feel like this serves a similar function to the Honest Beauty. I just don't think that this one stays matte for quite as long. And I do think it is a little bit more detectable on the skin than that one is. This one actually rattles a little bit because I had about half of this product in here. I've gone through, I think I've gone through one of these before, years ago. I had about half of the product left, and then I had this IT Cosmetics It Girl beauty book from a few years back, and I panned the pressed version of this powder here, and it started to crumble, and I couldn't bear to lose all of that product, so I just smashed it up and put it in here. I just haven't ground it up particularly fine yet. Because this one is my third favorite powder for this particular function, I don't know, I'll use it eventually. I have 2 powders that are specifically for the under eye. They are both equally lovely. It's a mini of the NARS Translucent Crystal, Light Reflecting Setting Powder, and the Charlotte Tilbury, you know, her under eye setting powder, a mini of that in the shade 1. And I like these both. I actually bought them both at the same time. I did a little head-to-head to try to tell which one was more flattering under the eye, and for me, they are equally flattering. I think I have used the Charlotte Tilbury a little bit more. There's a little bit of a dip in the pan there. This one I've used a little bit less of. I think my kid got his fingers in there. You can see some scratches, good times. But once she is done, I will be perfectly happy to move on to the NARS. Last two powders in my collection are actually powder foundations, and that I use primarily as powders. And the first one is, this is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation. This is in the shade Y235. This is a lovely, lovely powder. I love the idea of a powder foundation. I just have never found one that really matches me super well. And you can't mix. There's no blue mixer for a powder foundation in order to adjust that shade. So I use this primarily as a powder when I need a little bit more coverage along with my powder application. Really, really elegant formula. This is the older formula, so I've had this for a while. They reformulated this recently. However, everybody that I've spoken to that really enjoyed this formula has enjoyed the reformulation as much or more. So that's nice to know. I don't think that I will end up repurchasing this one simply because I don't use it a lot. It is not a must-have in my everyday makeup routine, but I will eventually use it up, and it's a really nice powder. I like it. Last, this is the J Cat Aquassurance Compact Foundation. She is almost gone. This is significantly too light for me, so its primary use has been as a more of a highlighting powder. If I'm going for a very sculpted look, I might do the Instagrammy things like I tend to prefer to highlight with matte products than with shiny products, and this is one of the things that I use for that particular purpose. I don't love this under the eyes, but elsewhere on the face, if I wanted to highlight it a little bit down the bridge of the nose or to clean up a little bit underneath cheek products, this is what I go for. The only product that is unaccounted for here is the Laura Mercier Secret Blurring Under Eye Powder. I am not sure where that is. I saw it recently, but I couldn't find it right before sitting down to film. So just imagine that I have it here. It's just this little thing. Unfortunately, I mistakenly bought it in the shade 2 instead of the shade 1. And it is too deep for me in the wintertime, and I can just barely get away with it in the summertime. However, I still don't like it quite as much as I like these two for under my eye. Therefore, it will probably leave my collection eventually. I don't think that is a product that I'm going to enjoy using enough to get to pan, if I'm really being honest about it. So those are all of my primers, setting sprays, and powders. We get to move on to color cosmetics next. I'm very excited. I hope that this was useful to you in some way, or at least just entertaining. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.